I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with a 3-minute cattle market update for Wednesday, October the 26th, brought to you in part by the International Brangus Breeders Association. If you sacrifice growth in your herd for carcass quality, think about Brangus. Brangus genetics add pounds and performance and improved yield grade to your cattle without compromising quality grade marbling. Build with Brangus to build your bottom line. For more information or to find a breeder near you, visit GoBrangus.com. There's some hidden proof out there, and it really didn't show up, and a lot of people probably didn't notice it. You would have had to look pretty hard if you did notice it, but this fat cattle market's a whole lot better than what's being advertised right now. And just hang with me until I get done giving the board there, and I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. But live cattle futures December contract on Monday was up 237. Tuesday it moderated out there, down just 35 cents to end the day on Tuesday at 103.90. Feeder cattle November contract Monday was up 282. Tuesday up just 12 cents to end the day on Tuesday at 122.65. October was actually down 82 cents on Tuesday there, but it's just trying to line up with your CME feeder cattle index there, because it's just about to drop off. But the big thing is, look at last week's fat cattle trade. All the way through the end of all the reporting that we had on Friday, we didn't even have 30,000 head trade negotiated. And even though we'd held the market together, everybody's dauber was kind of down and thinking that, well, darn, it's going to be kind of hard to make them do too much next week. But all of a sudden, we come out with this weighted average report that shows that the market's not $98, it's a lot closer to 102. We've got a lot of cattle that came in. Total weighted average negotiated sales for last week's trade all the way through the end of the week was 57,700, which is not great, not as good as we've been doing here most of the last several months, but actually pretty much right in line with what we were doing back when the market was really good. So we can't really call it that light of a trade. It just hadn't been as heavy as we've been here lately because we've had more cattle to sell, but still plenty enough trade to set a price and everything. But all of that early trade there in the middle of last week was around 98 bucks, and our weighted average was running about 97.50 or so like that. But then we went through the whole day there Friday. Market News never reported anything. Put their last report out at 5 o'clock on Friday, nothing. And then all of a sudden when we come out Monday with last week's weighted average, we've got these cattle on there, 29,500 head of them that traded after hours on Friday, didn't show up anywhere, and they sold mostly from 98 to 102. And then on the dress basis, 156 to 160. Well, we all thought that the dress market was 154. Well, there was more of these high cattle than there was those lower cattle that were actually higher for the week, that traded middle of the week. So now we've got these huge weighted averages with your live steers weighted average on them 99.24. Wow, that's a lot better than that 98 bucks though you thought we had. 99.24 was $1.65 higher than the previous week. And then on a dress trade, we all thought the market was 154. The weighted average on the dress steers was 157.15. It's up 322. So if we're going to get more money this week, we need to start asking for more. And any of you feedlot guys that have anything to do with your negotiated trade just needs to remember that these packers need your cattle more than you need to get rid of them. So dig your heels in and stop thinking about $1. Let's think about $1.05 or something like that, because we had several trades there of size at 102 after hours on Friday, and the way that just all happened with nobody being able to see it, it was about like one of Hillary's email deals. But anyway, you look at your cash feeder cattle market. Oklahoma City at 7,300 head on Monday. Feeder cattle and calves both sold steady to $5 higher. And you're thinking, gosh, I thought we were going to do better than that. Well, a lot of other markets did. Joplin had 4,800 there on Monday, sold their cattle $4 to $8 higher. But I tell you, I dropped in the market there in Amarillo on Monday, and they had 1,100 head, which is a good run for them. It was more like 30 bucks higher. Just all of a sudden, you had some decent ranch calves come in with all their shots and weaned and all that kind of stuff, and they were just so much higher than anything they'd sold for months that it was unbelievable. But you've got this wheat that's out there, and it's rank wheat. It's getting awful dry. You've got the guys that got their wheat put in early. That wheat is up and rank, and it's dying because it's turning brown because it's so dry here. The dryland wheat, of course, if you irrigated, it looks great. But the guys that got it in kind of a normal time a little bit later, their wheat is covering the ground good, but it just won't come up anymore. It's still green, close enough to the ground that's green, but just won't come up anymore because it's getting so dry. But haven't had any significant moisture down in the southern plains here for quite a while. But you look up north there at some markets farther up in the northern plains, Phillips, South Dakota. Big run on there. Government market report called it $4 to $10 higher. Look at Cattle Market Central, you can really see, and we're talking big runs, 13,000 head, stuff like that, compared to 11 or 12,000 the week before and the week before that. These are good tests. But look at that market report there on your 5 and 6 weight steer calves. They would be awful good, and big runs of them. And your weighted average there is about 3.5 higher on those best tested 5 and 6 weight steers. And that really means something when you're testing that many cattle one week against that many cattle the next week. And really need to get on Cattle Market Central here to be able to see that. Your 5 weight steers in Phillips, South Dakota average 135 a weight. 6 weights average 129.13. That's 3 minutes. We'll talk to you on Friday.